Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about my May reading wrap-up. I did have a 5-star book, which is phenomenal, and I had 0 1-star books. So everything I read was 2 stars or above, which is decent if you ask me, and we're going to talk about all of them. The first book I read was What She Left Behind by Ellen Marie Wiseman, and it has a different cover. So there's another cover that has like a woman with a hat. So sometimes I get these confused because I see the different covers, but this is a asylum historical fiction book. And it's dual timeline. We have a timeline in the 1920s where Clara is sent away because she falls in love with a man that her parents don't want her to marry. So they send her away to an asylum, and it is horrific and shocking and so sad, the things that she has to go through. She has a very, very difficult life, but we follow Clara in her timeline, but then we also follow a modern day timeline. And then in the current day timeline, we follow Izzy, and she is a teenager and she is being fostered by this couple that works at the asylum after it's been closed. So they kind of work with a museum to go through the items in the old asylum after it was shut down and kind of help categorize them, take pictures of them, things like that. And so Izzy is kind of learning about all of these patients at the asylum through going through their items. And she's dealing with some issues of her own, bullying, the fact that her mother murdered her father. So there's a lot in here. And the first time I read it, this is actually a reread. The first time I read it, I rated it 3 stars, but this time I'm actually rating it 4 stars. I felt like I appreciated it so much more, and it felt way less YA. That was my problem with it the first time, was just how YA it did feel by having so much of it from the perspective of a teenager. Sorry, Indy's kicking the tripod. But I think that if you like asylum historical fiction books like The Lost Groves of Willowbrook or Woman 99, Only the Beautiful by Susan Meisner, any of those, I think you would also like this book. Next, I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is Emily Henry's most recent release, and I did give this 5 stars. And I did vlog about this. I did a new releases reading vlog, so definitely go and check that one out to hear all of my thoughts. But essentially this is about 2 people that were broken up with and decide to become roommates. So it's a little bit of forced proximity. There's a little bit of fake dating to make their exes jealous. And I really liked the male character. It was quirky, it was relatable, it was very like normal. There was nothing like weird and out there that happened. And it was just a very nice, very straightforward romance, and I really appreciated it. I could do without the Crocs, but other than that, I really enjoyed this book. The next book I read was First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, and this was my 2-star read. It's a like mafia secrets woman is down and out on her luck and gets the opportunity to join this underground mafia. So you have this woman, and she's not who she says she is, and she basically does all of these jobs, and she doesn't know who her boss is. She just knows that she keeps getting these assignments, and her current assignment is to get close to this man. She doesn't really know why or what the purpose is. She just knows she's supposed to get close to him. She moves in with him, and so she just kind of does all of these different assignments, and she doesn't really understand who she's doing them for or why, but she knows it's part of this bigger like mafia scheme. I don't really know. It was confusing, and I was a little bit bored, and yeah, I just didn't really like this one. Next, I listened to One of Our Own by Lucinda Berry, and this is an audio exclusive, so you can only listen to this. It's a short story, I guess. It was like 2 hours for me to finish the audio on 2 times speed, but it's about a woman who is working at a call center for people who are struggling with thoughts of suicide. And so while she's working at this call center, she gets a call from a girl who she realizes goes to her high school age son's school. And she realizes that this girl is struggling with something that happened at the school, that happened at a party. And so the mom is trying to figure out if her son had anything to do with it, but also help this girl as well. So she's struggling with wanting to help this girl, but also wanting to clear her son's name. It was really good. I wish that it was longer. I wish I had more character development, but I really enjoyed this one. It was fast-paced, it was quick, it had a good ending, and yeah, I always love Lucinda Berry. She always does such a great job. Next, I listened to Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose, and I got the audio for this from Libro FM from their ALC program, so thank you so much for the advanced listening copy of this. But I listened to this on my drive to the beach, and I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. This is about 3 siblings, and they go back to their parents' house after their mother passed away to kind of settle all of her affairs, and they find themselves tied up again in this small town neighborhood crime that happened when they were children. And these 3 siblings are very different personalities, and they're trying to figure out, you know, their own relationships and mourn their mother and figure out what happened. And I cried within the first chapter of this book, and then I cried during chapter 2, and then I cried during chapter 3. It's very, very emotional at the beginning, so definitely look up trigger warnings, but it was such a good book. It was so fun. It was so fast paced. Did I guess what was going to happen? Yes, but the way it was revealed was pretty good. I have kept thinking about this book, and it was just so fun, and Geneva Rose is just so fun. Even if some things were a little bit ridiculous, even if some things were a little bit convenient, I really enjoyed it. And this is one that I could definitely see rereading, and this is also one that if I keep thinking about as much as I have, it might be a 5-star book. Like, was it a perfect book? No, but it was just so fun, and it stuck with me. The next book I read was Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, and I read this for the Sleep When I'm Dead book club hosted by my friend Jessie from the channel Reading with Jess. They discussed this, and so definitely go back and watch that live show because the live show has already happened. But this is about 3 girls that grew up in a foster home together, and so now they're adults and they are called back to the foster home because a tragedy has taken place there and they found a body. And so that's basically everything that happens, and I didn't really enjoy this one. I initially gave it 3 stars, but now I think I've landed on a 2. I thought that it was very repetitive. It was just talking to a detective, answering questions. Let's go to the foster home. Let's not go. Let's talk to this detective. Let's go back to the foster home. Let's talk to the detective. Let's not go to the foster home. Like, it was just too repetitive. I didn't care about any of the characters, and I really, really disliked the ending. Sally Hepworth, her books are targeted as thrillers, and that's how they're marketed, but that is absolutely not what they are, and so that kind of bothers me that they're like purposely mismarketed and everybody knows that they are. So like, why do you keep doing it? I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm done with Sally Hepworth. Next we have The Favor by Nora Murphy, and I read this while I was at the beach. I only took my Kindle with me to the beach so I could kind of read down some of those books, and so I did read this one. It's been on my Kindle for a couple years now. I think it came out in 2022, and it's about 2 girls who are in abusive relationships with their husbands, and they essentially try to help themselves out of it. So they're stalking each other, but they actually don't know that they're stalking the other and trying to keep the other woman safe. It was an interesting premise. It kind of fell flat. It wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't anything spectacular, so 3 stars. Next we have She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica, and this was the buddy read for the Paw Print Pals, which is Jessie from Reading with Jess, her membership on YouTube. So the Sleep When I'm Dead book club is totally free, anybody can participate, and then the Paw Print Pals is her membership that I pay for monthly. And this was a fun one. It's about a single mom who lives in Philly, and she's a nurse. She's taking care of a patient that is in a coma because she threw herself off a bridge. And then the police think that maybe she didn't actually throw herself off a bridge, and through the nurse taking care of her, the nurse starts feeling like she's being watched and she's being followed by whoever it is that potentially could have pushed this girl off of the bridge. Then there's this other kind of subplot where there is a man in the Chicago area who keeps assaulting and attacking females in the Chicago area, and so there was a lot going on, and there was like multiple subplots, and all of the different strings and red herrings and Easter eggs didn't all really come to fruition, but overall it was a fun book. I wanted to keep reading. I enjoyed it. It was nothing absolutely shocking. I guessed most things that happened, but it was still fun and I enjoyed it. And if you like Mary Kubica books, it's definitely a good one. Or if you're just getting into thrillers, it's a good one. Or if you like that urban city setting, I think you would enjoy this one because it is set in the heart of Chicago and they use like public transport and they're in apartments. So that was kind of fun because I feel like usually I only get that from New York as the background for those types of books. So it was fun to have that Chicago background. Next, I read Foe by Ian Reid, and I think that my friend Gwen gifted this for me for like my birthday, and good job, Gwen. This was a 4-star read. It's pretty short, and if you know Ian Reid, he does kind of like a little bit weird, maybe a little bit stream of consciousness, but it's not so much that you can't understand it. I loved We Spread by Ian Reid, and so I wanted to try Foe as well, and it does have a little bit of like a sci-fi element, but I felt like it was really well done. I didn't see coming what ended up happening at the end. It was just to the point where I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit bored and I'm getting a little bit confused and I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I don't really know where this is going, and then it all rounded out and then it ended. And I was like, okay, I see what you did there, Ian. And look at that freaking dog. So cute. I love that he has his dog in his pictures. Essentially, this is about Junior and Henrietta, and they are a married couple that live on a farm. And one day a man shows up and says that Junior is going to be a part of this government secret project. And that's all I'm gonna say because anything else would be a spoiler, but it was really good. It was really good, and it wasn't too weird for me, and it wasn't too sci-fi for me. It was just a little weird and just a little sci-fi. So if you like those two things, or you like Ian Reid's writing, then definitely try it out. The audiobook, I think, was like 3 hours long. So audiobook on 2x speed was like under 3 hours. So definitely worth a shot. And then the last book I read, I borrowed from a coworker and I have since returned it to her, and it was The Inmate by Frida McFadden. And this is about a nurse practitioner who gets a job at a jail, and one of the inmates at the jail, she actually helped to put there. And so you're going through her life as a single mom and then also working at this prison. And this was fun. It was a popcorn thriller. Nothing crazy. I don't really like when thrillers pull something totally out of left field, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but this kind of had an ending that I don't really like in thrillers. The writing is fine. It's Frida McFadden, you know? It's kind of how I feel about like Kirsten Moglen. They're fun, they're entertaining, and then you move on. So 3 stars, but I definitely recommend picking it up if you like Frida McFadden, or like really just quick, fast-paced thrillers, because it does move pretty quickly. Okay, those are all 10 books that I read in the month of May. Please let me know if you've read any of these books, and if so, what did you think about them? Also, let me know down in the comments, what was your favorite book that you read in May? Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!